My parents risked our home just to cover my brother's debt. They did not help me when I had problems. Then they tried to take over my wedding day. But what happened next made them all quiet. My wedding will be in April. My soon-to-be wife and I have been making plans for it for more than 1 year. She is 25 years old. Since she was little, she wanted to get married in the spring. You know, when flowers come out and the weather is nice. I think it's a good plan too. It feels new and full of hope. It's like starting a new part of life. I was happy about it, but I felt that way until last week. So, to help you understand, I am 27 years old. I have a big brother who is 30. When we were kids, we were not the same. He was the special child. You know, the one that mom and dad think is perfect. Yes, that was him. They never said it in words, but it was easy to see he was the one they liked most. When he did something wrong, they would say he was still learning. When I did something wrong, oh no, it was a big deal. Things stayed like this even when we grew up. When it was time for us to go to college, my mom and dad showed how much they liked him more. They used their home to get money to pay for his school. This was a big thing. They had a hard time paying the money back for many years. When it was my turn to go to college, they had no money left for me. I had to find a way by myself. I got help from schools and worked at jobs. It was a lot of hard work. I am not saying I feel bad. I am proud of what I did. But I was also a little angry about it deep down. Now I have a good job. I get paid enough money that I started to help my mom and dad with money. They are still paying back the money they got for my brother's school. So for the last 2 years, I give them $650 every month to help them pay. They did not ask me for this help. I just thought I could help, so I should. But the thing is, even with all this help, they still don't seem to notice me. My brother is still the one they care about most, even though he has not done much with his life since college. Let me tell you about my brother. He has been with a girl for about 3 years. From what I know, things are not going well between them. She has been trying to tell him she wants to get married. She has made it very clear. But he has been slow to do it. To be honest, I don't think he is ready to get married. But that is not my problem. I have stayed out of it. Who wants to deal with someone else's love problems? But that changed last Saturday. My mom called me. It was lunchtime. I was at home with my soon-to-be wife. We were talking about the last things we needed to plan for the wedding. You know, small things like where people will sit and what flowers to have. My mom called and said, "Can you come to my house? We need to talk." Her voice was serious, like something important was happening. Of course, I asked what she wanted to talk about, but she only said, "You will know when you get here." I will be honest, I was a little mad. First, we were busy planning our wedding. Second, I don't like it when people say, "We need to talk," but won't tell you what it's about. It feels like they want you to worry all the way there. My soon-to-be wife could see I was upset. She asked if I wanted to not go and keep working on the wedding plans. I thought about it, but I needed to know what was so important that she couldn't just tell me on the phone. I told my soon-to-be wife I would go and try to be fast. How bad could it be? I said. She moved her eyes, but she didn't fight with me. If I think about it now, I should have just stayed home. So I went to my mom and dad's house. It felt like I walked into a meeting to fix a problem. My brother was sitting on the couch with a look that said he knew something I didn't. My mom and dad were sitting across from him like they had practiced what to say. It felt too formal for just a family talk. Right away, I felt nervous. I sat down. My mom started her talk. She began by saying how family is important and how big life events are good to share with people you love. Then she told me the big news. My brother had a plan to ask his girlfriend to marry him at my wedding party. My mom said it would be sweet and a good time because all our family would be there. My brother was smiling big, like he thought it was the best idea ever. I didn't let her finish talking. I stopped her and said, "No way. Who thinks of something like that? It's my wedding. My soon-to-be wife and I have been planning it for over a year. How is it okay for him to use my day for his love problems?" I thought they might argue with me a little, but I didn't think they would all fight so hard. My dad started talking about how families should help each other. He made it sound like I was wrong to say no. Then my brother joined in. He said I was only thinking of myself. He said I was messing up his big day. His big day. I could not believe what he was saying. I asked him straight out, "Why can't you plan your own time to ask her to marry you? Why do you have to use my wedding?" He just moved his shoulders. He said it was a good chance because family would be there and it would be less work for him. I was getting very angry. I tried to stay calm at first, but they kept pushing me. My mom said I was getting too upset. She said him asking to marry would not hurt my wedding. She even said it would make the day more special. My dad nodded like this made perfect sense. My brother just sat there with a smile like he had already won. That's when I got really mad. I told them all that if they even thought about doing this, I would not let them come to my wedding. And I didn't stop there. I reminded them about the $650 I give them every month. I help them pay for their house. It's the same house they used to get money for my brother's school. I told them that if they could not respect me and my soon-to-be wife on our day, I would stop giving them money. The room got very quiet after that. My mom looked like she was going to cry. My dad just looked at me like I had hit him. But my brother didn't give up. He started yelling that I was not being fair. He said I was using money to control the family. He said I was being mean to them just because he wanted to do something nice for his girlfriend. I told him that if he thought ruining someone else's wedding was nice, then maybe he was not ready to get married. I had enough at that point. I stood up. I told them I was done talking about it. I said, this is my last word. If you try to do this, you're out. No wedding, no money, nothing. Then I left the house and didn't look back. I really don't know what will happen next. Am I being too mean? I know that families can have problems, but this feels like they went too far. I don't think it's wrong to want my wedding to be about my wedding, but maybe I don't understand something. Am I wrong for saying no and making a rule? Tell me what you think. I really don't know what to do. When I got home, my soon-to-be wife knew right away that something happened. I told her everything they said. I told her about my brother's plan and how my mom and dad were helping him. She was as mad as I was. Actually, she might have been even more mad. She kept saying, how dare they try to ruin our day? She wanted to tell my brother right then that he could not come. I told her I wanted to give them one more chance to stop this crazy idea, but I could tell she didn't believe they would. She said, they have already shown you who they are. Why do you think they will stop now? And she was right. The next day, my mom called me. She said she wanted to talk, but it was easy to see she just wanted me to change my mind. She kept saying, it's just one small thing. It won't hurt your wedding. I told her again and again that my answer was no. She tried to make me feel bad. She said my brother was very sad. She said I was breaking up the family over something small. I could not believe what she was saying. I told her, if this is so small, why can't he just ask her to marry him on a different day? She had no answer for that. Later that night, my brother came to my house. He didn't text or call first. He just came and started hitting my door hard. When I opened it, he started yelling right away. He said I had messed up his plans and made him feel bad in front of our parents. He was yelling so loud, I think the people next door could hear him. He kept saying his girlfriend was getting tired of waiting. He said this was his last chance to ask her to marry him before she left him. I told him straight out, that's your problem, not mine. If she leaves you because of this, maybe your relationship has bigger problems than you think. That made him quiet for a second, but then he started yelling again. He said I only thought of myself and was jealous. He said I didn't want him to be happy. At that point, I told him to leave before I called someone to make him go away. After he left mad, I thought maybe things would get better. But no. The next day, my grandma called me. She is the only grandparent we have left. She always tries to make peace in the family. She started by saying she heard about what happened. She wanted to help fix it. Of course, this just meant my brother had gone to her crying and told her his side of the story. She said she was sad about how I was dealing with things. She said family should stay together, especially for big events like weddings. I knew right away that my brother had told the story in a way that made him look like the one who was hurt. So I calmly told her everything. I told her how my brother wanted to ask his girlfriend to marry him at my wedding. I told her how my mom and dad were helping him, and I told her how I said no. You would think that would be enough, right? No. She started saying things like, it's just him asking to marry her. It won't hurt your wedding if he does it in a nice way. I told her, Grandma, it's my wedding, not his. Why is this so hard for people to understand? She tried to say that family should come first, but I didn't agree. I said, if family comes first, then why isn't anyone respecting me and my soon-to-be wife on our day? The talk got more angry after that. She kept saying good things about my brother. She said he was having a hard time and just wanted to make his proposal special. I reminded her that he is 30 years old. He can plan his own proposal without using someone else's event. She didn't like what I said. Things got worse. Before I knew it, she was crying. She said I was being mean to my family. I felt bad that I made her upset, but I was not going to give in. I told her, if helping family means letting people treat me badly, then maybe I don't want that kind of help. After I hung up the phone, I felt very tired. This whole thing was becoming more drama than I ever thought it would be. My soon-to-be wife, as always, was strong for me. She was angry. She said, this is more than not nice. They are going too far. I told her I agreed. I said we needed to keep our rules. She was not happy that things had gotten so bad, but she knew we could not let this go. The next few days were strangely quiet. No calls, no texts, nothing. It felt like the quiet before a big storm. I started to think maybe they finally understood, but deep down I knew it wasn't over. My family doesn't give up easily. And sure enough, my mom called again a few days later. This time she tried a different way. Instead of trying to make me feel bad, she tried to make me think it was fair. She said, we talked to your brother, he is willing to meet in the middle. He won't do it during the wedding part, just at the party after. Isn't that fair? I could not believe what I was hearing. I told her, no, that's not fair. My answer is still no. We are done talking. She made a sad sound and said, I don't get why you are making this so hard. At that point, I was finished. I told her, if you talk about this again, you can't come to the wedding. I mean it. Then I hung up the phone. Now we are at a stop. My parents haven't called since that last talk. My brother hasn't come to my house again, which is good. My soon-to-be wife and I are still planning our wedding. But there is still this bad feeling over everything. A small part of me hopes they will start to think clearly. But to be honest, I don't think it will happen. That's how things are right now. I will tell you if anything changes. But for now, I am just trying to think about the wedding. I don't want this mess to ruin what should be one of the happiest days of my life. Thank you for staying with me through this. It helps to know I'm not the only one who thinks this whole thing is crazy. Some of you said it seems like my soon-to-be wife has hated my mom and dad from the start. So let me talk about that first before I tell you about the new problems. About the comment that said, my soon-to-be wife seems to hate my parents. To be honest, that's not true. She has always been nice to them. She has tried to have a good relationship with them. But over the years, she has seen with her own eyes how they treat me. She protects me strongly. It's not that she hates them, it's more that she gets upset because things are not fair. She has been very patient, but when they go too far like this, it's hard for her to not say anything. And to be honest, I can't be mad at her for that. Now, let's talk about the big problem. After all the crazy stuff with my brother, my mom, and then my grandma, things were at a stop. No one called me, I didn't call them either. To be honest, it was nice to have some quiet. My soon-to-be wife and I worked on finishing the wedding plans. We planned where people would sit, we tasted cake, we made lists of who would sit where, all that fun stuff. But even with all that, you could still feel the stress in the air. I kept wondering when the next bad thing would happen. Well, a few days ago, my mom finally called me. She started the talk by saying she didn't want to fight anymore. She just wanted us to be a family again. I was not sure if I believed her, but I let her talk. She said my brother had agreed to not ask his girlfriend to marry him at the wedding. She went on about how he now knew it was not nice and how he wanted to fix things. I didn't believe her. It seemed too easy, especially after how much they all fought for this idea. But I told her, if he really drops this idea, then okay. But I won't just take your word for it. I need to hear it from him myself. She said she would talk to him and have him call me. I didn't really wait with hope, but I thought I would give them a chance for now. Later that night, my brother called me. He started with an apology that didn't sound real. He said he was sorry for causing stress. He said he didn't know how important it was to me and my soon-to-be wife to keep the wedding about us. He said he decided to wait and ask her to marry him at a different time. His voice didn't sound true, but at least he was saying the right things. I told him, if you mean this, then I am willing to forget it. But if you even think about trying something at the wedding, I will not be afraid to make you leave. He told me to not get so upset. He said his girlfriend was already losing interest in him. He said he was starting to think maybe he didn't want to marry her after all.
For the first time in a long time, he talked to me like a brother and joked with me. Then he promised not to ruin anything. After that call, I told my soon-to-be wife what happened. I was a little hopeful but careful, but she made it clear she still didn't trust him. She said, "I'll believe it when I see it happen." To be honest, I felt the same way, but at least it seemed like the drama might finally be ending. With that problem solved, we put all our energy into planning the wedding. The big day is only a few weeks away. There is still so much to do. We picked the food we would serve, we went over the schedule with the person helping us plan the wedding, we made sure all the people helping with the wedding would be there. It felt good to think about the fun parts again, instead of always dealing with problems. But of course, it wasn't long before something else happened.
A few days after the call with my brother, my dad sent me a text. He said he wanted to make sure everything was okay. He asked if we could meet to talk. I said yes, thinking maybe he just wanted to make things better before the wedding. When we met, he seemed strange. He kept talking about my brother without really saying much. Finally, he said he was worried my brother might still try something at the wedding. I was not surprised. I told him, if he does, he's leaving, no question. My dad started talking about how people can get very emotional at weddings. He said I should try to understand if my brother got carried away in the moment. I stopped him right there. I said, if you're telling me to let him do something wrong, then we have a problem. I'm not letting anyone ruin this day for me or my soon-to-be wife. He stopped talking after that, but the whole talk left me feeling bad. It felt like he was trying to see how much I would let happen. When I got home, I told my soon-to-be wife about the talk. She was very angry. She said, "This is why I don't trust them. They are still trying to protect him." At this point, we decided to make a plan B. We talked to the person helping us plan the wedding. We asked her to tell the people working at the place where we would have the wedding. We didn't tell them all the messy details, but we made it clear that if anyone tried to take over the event, they should be made to leave right away. It felt a little too much, but to be honest, I didn't want to take any risks. Now, our wedding is in just 2 days. The feeling is a mix of being excited and being worried. My soon-to-be wife and I are trying to stay focused on the last things we need to do. We are checking who said they would come, we are finishing the plan for where people will sit, we are making sure everything is ready. But there is this worry that won't go away. What if my brother hasn't really given up? What if my mom and dad are still quietly telling him to do it? I am trying to not think about it and stay positive, but it's hard not to think about it. Tomorrow is the dinner where we practice for the wedding. I hope everyone will be good, but I still have that small doubt. My brother hasn't done anything strange lately. My mom and dad have been quiet since that last talk. On the outside, it seems like things are okay. But with my family, you never really know. I keep telling myself, just 2 more days. If I can get through this, everything will be fine. We are doing everything we can to make sure the day goes well. The person helping us plan the wedding is ready. The people working at the place know what to watch for. We have made it clear that we won't put up with any bad behavior. My soon-to-be wife is ready to make people leave if she has to. And to be honest, so am I. I am trying to be hopeful, but careful. But if this whole thing has taught me anything, it's that with my family, things are never as simple as they seem. I hope this piece is real and not just another plan for more problems. I will tell you how it went after the big day. Hey everyone, it's time for the update I know you have been waiting for. The wedding day has happened, and let me tell you, it was as crazy as I was afraid it would be. We got through it, but there was definitely some drama. Okay, so the day started perfectly. The weather was beautiful, my soon-to-be wife looked amazing. Everything at the place where we had the wedding was going well. We had a quiet morning getting ready. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could really relax. My mom and dad came on time. They looked happy and surprisingly normal. Even my brother came without acting like he knew something or acting strange. I have to admit, this surprised me for a second. I thought maybe they really had dropped the whole idea of him proposing. The wedding part went perfectly. My soon-to-be wife walked down the aisle to me. I could barely keep from crying. It was perfect, just like we had dreamed. The promises we made to each other, the kiss, everything felt like a story from a book. We walked back down the aisle as husband and wife, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they really did respect what we wanted. But deep down, I knew it was too good to be true. The party after the wedding started. The feeling was great. People were laughing, dancing, and having a good time. My wife and I were busy going from table to table, thanking everyone for coming. That's when I saw my brother. He was standing near the person playing music. He was talking to my dad. He looked too serious for someone who should be having fun. My gut feeling told me something was wrong, but I decided to give them a chance. That was a big mistake. Later, it was time for people to give speeches. My dad went first. He said all the usual nice things about marriage and family. Then it was my brother's turn. I was already nervous because I didn't even want him to give a speech, but my mom said it was important. She said he should be part of the day. He started normal enough. He talked about how happy he was for me and my wife. He told a few funny stories from when we were kids. But then, suddenly, he started to get emotional. He talked about his girlfriend. The whole room got quiet. I could feel my wife's hand hold mine tighter. My brother started talking about how much he loved his girlfriend. He said being at our wedding that day made him want to take the next step. My heart started beating fast. Before I could do anything, he turned to his girlfriend. He took out a ring. He got down on one knee. The room was completely quiet for a moment. Then a few people started clapping. His girlfriend looked completely shocked, and not in a good way. My wife let go of my hand. She stood up and said, "Are you kidding me?" I didn't even think. My body just moved. I stood up. I walked straight to my brother. I told him, "You need to leave right now." He tried to argue. He said it was just a small proposal. He said it didn't hurt our wedding. I didn't accept that. I gave a sign to the people working at the place. They were ready for this exact thing. They came over to make him leave. That's when things got really bad. My dad got involved. He yelled at me to let it go. He said not to ruin the day. My brother yelled that I was only thinking of myself. His girlfriend looked like she wanted to vanish. By now, everyone at the party was watching this happen. The people working there managed to get my brother outside, but he was still yelling. My dad followed him. I couldn't stop myself. I went after them. Outside the place, it was chaos. My brother was shouting about how I had embarrassed him in front of everyone. My dad was trying to make peace. He said we should talk about it. I told both of them, "There's nothing to talk about. You disrespected me and my wife. You are done here." That's when my brother got really mad. He moved toward me like he was going to hit me, but the people working there stepped in. They held him back. My dad started yelling at the staff. He said they were making too big of a deal. He said we were family, but they didn't care. They told him, "Sir, you need to leave or we will call the police." At that point, my brother's girlfriend finally spoke. She said, "I didn't even want this. You've made yourself look stupid." Then she left in a huff, leaving my brother standing there looking foolish. Finally, the staff managed to get both my brother and my dad to leave the property. My mom came out crying. She started begging me to let them come back in. I told her, "If you don't go back inside and act good, you're next." She looked at me like I had hit her, but she went back inside without saying anything else. When I walked back into the party, the feeling was tense. People were talking in low voices. I could feel everyone looking at me. My wife looked very angry about the whole thing. She came over and hugged me. She said, "Let's move on. This is our day." And that's exactly what we did. We took a moment to get ourselves together, then we went back out there. We danced, we cut the cake, we tried to save what was left of the night. By the end of the night, most people were having fun again. But you couldn't deny that my brother's action had put a dark cloud over everything. When the party finally ended, my wife and I fell into our car, very tired. She looked at me and said, "Well, at least we dealt with it." We laughed, because, to be honest, what else could we do? It wasn't the perfect day we had imagined, but we were married, and that was what mattered. But the day after the wedding, there were many phone calls and whispers from our extended family. Apparently, news about what happened spread very fast. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion about it. Some people called to see how we were doing, but they couldn't help making small, mean comments or asking for details about the drama. Others directly told me I was causing problems, as if my brother's action wasn't the real problem. My aunt even said something like, "You know how he is, you should have just let it go to keep peace." At the same time, the family chat group became a place where people were mean in quiet ways. They sent unclear messages and liked certain comments to show they agreed with some people. It was very tiring, to say the least. And that's all for now. But I will tell you how I will deal with my family from now on. They broke my trust. But I will tell you about that later, when I have had more time to think about everything. Thank you for staying with me through all this. Take care. It has been 3 weeks since the wedding. My family is gone completely crazy. So after the wedding party, my wife and I took a couple of days to relax. We didn't use our phones, we ignored messages, we just tried to enjoy being married. It was nice while it lasted, but the quiet didn't last long. When we finally checked our phones, there were about 12 missed calls and texts from my mom, my dad, and of course my brother. The messages went from trying to make me feel bad to being very angry. My mom's texts were all about how I had embarrassed the family. She said I had made my brother feel bad by having him kicked out in front of everyone. My dad's texts were more in the middle. He was trying to make peace, but he was still mostly defending my brother. And my brother? Well, his messages were just very angry. He called me selfish, he said I had ruined his life. He even said I had made his girlfriend not like him anymore. Talking about his girlfriend, she broke up with him. Apparently, the whole wedding thing was the last thing she could accept. One of my cousins who was close to her told me she was very angry. She was mad that he didn't care about her feelings. He made the proposal all about himself. She even said she felt embarrassed just watching him get dragged out by the security people. To be honest, I don't blame her. If I were her, I would probably have done the same thing. Anyway, back to the family drama. After ignoring the calls a little longer, I finally decided to answer my mom's call. As soon as I answered, she started crying. She said things like, "How could you treat your brother that way? He is very sad and hurt. Don't you care about this family?" I stayed calm. I told her that my brother caused this himself. I told her I had warned him many times. She didn't want to listen. She kept saying I should have just let it happen. She said it was just a proposal and it wouldn't have hurt anything. I told her, "Mom, he disrespected me and my wife on the most important day of our lives. If you think I'm the bad person for standing up for myself, then that's your problem, not mine." She didn't like that. She started yelling about how I was breaking up the family. I just hung up. I didn't want to argue anymore. Then my dad came to our house without telling us he was coming. My wife and I were just starting to feel like things were getting better. Then I heard a knock at the door. It was him, standing there with a serious look on his face. He said he wanted to talk things out. But it quickly became another talk about how I should have done things differently. He kept saying, "You didn't have to make it so bad. Family is supposed to forgive each other." I told him, "Dad, I didn't make it bad. I told him not to do it, and he did it anyway. What was I supposed to do? Let him treat me badly?" He didn't have an answer for that, but he still tried to make me feel guilty. At one point, he even said, "You know, your brother doesn't have anyone else. You're the person he looks up to." That made me laugh, because, to be honest, if I'm the person he looks up to, he's doing a terrible job of being like me. But the real chaos happened a couple of days later.
My wife and I decided to eat dinner at a local restaurant. We thought we would finally get a break from all the drama. But guess who showed up? My brother. I have no idea how he knew we would be there, but he came in like a man with a mission. He walked straight to our table. He started yelling about how I had ruined his life. People in the restaurant were staring. My wife looked like she was ready to throw her drink at him. I told him, "You need to leave before you embarrass yourself even more." That just made him more angry. He started shouting about how his girlfriend had left him and how it was all my fault. He said, "You made me look like a fool in front of everyone. You ruined my relationship." I told him, "You did that to yourself. Maybe if you respected other people's limits, you wouldn't be in this mess." At that point, the manager of the restaurant came over. He asked my brother to leave. My brother said no. He said he had a right to talk to me. The manager said he would call the police. That's when things got physical. My brother tried to push past the manager to get to me, but a few men who were nearby stepped in. They held him back. It was a whole scene. People were yelling. My wife was very angry. My brother was dragged out of the restaurant, kicking and screaming. After that, my wife and I decided to leave too. We didn't even finish our food. On the way home, she said, "I think it's time to stop talking to them." And to be honest, I agree. This whole thing has shown me just how bad my family can be. I don't think I can keep letting myself or my wife go through this. Since then, I have stopped all contact with my brother. I have very little contact with my parents. About my brother, I heard from other people that he's been telling everyone who will listen that I'm the reason his life is falling apart. He's blaming me for his breakup, his embarrassment, and everything else that has gone wrong for him. It's frustrating. But at this point, I'm done caring. I've spent too much time and energy dealing with his crazy behavior. I'm ready to move on. My wife and I are focusing on building our life together. We are leaving the drama behind. It's not easy, but it feels like the right thing to do. I've learned that sometimes you have to put yourself and your happiness first. This is true even if it means walking away from people who won't respect you. That's all for now.